Ah, yes, the Major League Baseball trade deadline, one of my favorite times of the year. It's when your team is looking to make that final move to try and make a run for that World Series championship, or your team goes into sell mode and you are absolutely miserable. Here are some trades that I think each team should make by the trade deadline this year. Before I get started, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the share button, hit the whatever button, hit all the buttons. First up, I think the Arizona Diamondbacks should trade Eduardo Escobar. The Diamondbacks aren't doing anything this season. Eduardo Escobar, he's a free agent after this year, and he's having a pretty decent year other than the batting average, which is a little low at 240, a pretty low on base at 287. He has 15 home runs and a respectable 457 slugging. Trade him now, get some prospects while you can. Up next, I think the Baltimore Orioles should try and trade Paul Fry. He's having a very good year out of the bullpen for the Orioles, a 1.93 ERA, over 23 and a third innings. He has over 13 strikeouts per 9. I think Fry would be able to bring back a pretty decent package for the Orioles, who aren't really doing anything this year. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in the middle of a rebuild, and I think this is the best time to try and trade Adam Frazier. He's having a very good year for the Pirates, who are having a terrible year, a 336 average. He's got 24 RBIs currently and 871 OPS. He's having a very good year, and he has versatility. He can play second base. He can play some outfield. I think he would be very good for a team in need of some versatility down the stretch for a playoff run. I think the Texas Rangers should trade Ian Kennedy. He's having a very good year. He signed with the Rangers on a minor league deal, but over 21 and a third innings so far. He has a 3.01 ERA, over 10 strikeouts per 9, and because he was on the minor league deal, he's going to be very cheap. I think he would be a great option for a bullpen down the stretch. Up next, I think the Colorado Rockies should trade Jon Gray. Surprisingly enough, I don't have Trevor Story in this spot. The key difference between Story and Gray is that the Rockies can offer Story a qualifying offer, which Trevor Story will probably decline, which means the Rockies will get a draft pick as compensation. With Jon Gray, teams need pitching. He's not going to get offered a qualifying offer, so it makes a lot more sense for the Rockies to unload Jon Gray than a Trevor Story. There's also the fact that there's not much of a market for shortstops right now, and while Trevor Story does have a good track record, he's not having the best offensive season. If the Rockies get offered a decent enough package for Story, I think they should do it, but as for right now, I think they need to try and trade Jon Gray. Up next, the disappointing Minnesota Twins should try to trade Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz is having himself a very good season once again at the plate, hitting a ton of home runs, driving in a ton of runs. He would be a great addition for a team in need of a bat down the stretch for a playoff run. Their division rivals, the Detroit Tigers, should try to trade Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd's having a nice bounce-back season with a 3.56 ERA so far, and while the strikeouts per 9 are down to only 7 per 9, he's not walking many guys. He's having a very good year. I think he would be a great addition for a rotation in need of some depth and a lefty arm for a playoff run. However, Boyd did leave his last start due to some triceps discomfort, so it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be healthy enough to be traded to a contender. Moving on to the Washington Nationals, and I think they should try to trade Max Scherzer. Despite a groin injury recently, he's been having a very good season, over 13 starts, a 2.21 ERA, 12 strikeouts per 9. We all know Max Scherzer is the real deal. He would be a huge boost for any starting rotation looking to make the playoffs and looking to win a World Series. Staying in the National League East, the Miami Marlins should try to trade Starling Marte. He is having a very good season, hitting .351 with an OPS over 1,000, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs. He's stolen 8 stolen bases as well. Starling Marte would be a great bat for any lineup in need of some more offense. He's going to be a free agent after this year, so the Marlins might as well try to trade him and get some prospects while they can. Moving on to the Kansas City Royals, and I think they should try to trade Danny Duffy. I do think they could sign him to an extension, but if they're looking to add some prospects during a year where they're probably not going to do too much, why not try and trade Danny Duffy, a 1.94 ERA, over 7 starts. He is currently hurt at the moment, but he should be back soon. But he is a free agent after this year. The Royals might as well try and get some prospects for him while they can if they're not going to re-sign him long term. Up next, the disappointing Atlanta Braves should try to trade for Richard Rodriguez. Richard Rodriguez is having a very good year for a bad Pirates team, a 1.78 ERA over 24 games. He has 7 saves. Richard Rodriguez would be very good for that Braves bullpen in need of some help out there. They rank 22nd in relief pitching right now. I think Richard Rodriguez would be a great fit for the Atlanta Braves. Moving out west, I think the Seattle Mariners should try to trade Kyle Seager. He doesn't have a great batting average this year, only .214, and not a great on base at .280, but he does have 13 home runs, 40 RBIs. I think he could be a great addition for a team looking to make the playoffs that needs some more run production in the middle of that order. Next up, I think the St. Louis Cardinals should trade for Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer, I've already talked about him in this video. He's having a very good season, but the Cardinals have been sputtering lately, losing a lot of games lately. They lost their ace, Jack Flaherty, recently. I think that starting rotation really needs a boost, and what better boost than try to get Max Scherzer, who is originally from Missouri. Up next, I think the New York Yankees should trade for Ketel Marte. This Yankees team has been a huge disappointment so far. That offense has just stunk. They really need a left-handed bat. What better bat than a Ketel Marte? He's having a very good year so far, despite being out for a little bit with a hamstring injury. He's hit .356 so far, 4 homers, 14 RBIs. He has over a .400 on base, over a .500 slugging. I think Ketel Marte, he's also versatile. He would be very good for this Yankees team that's looking to get back into the playoff race. Up next, I think the LA Angels should trade for Daniel Hudson. The Angels have been playing a lot better lately. That offense has been great. The starting pitching has been doing enough to help them win games, and even the bullpen has improved. I think they could use one more arm in that bullpen for the playoff stretch. Daniel Hudson would be a great fit, a 2.59 ERA over 23 games so far, 35 strikeouts over 24 innings. Daniel Hudson would be a great addition for that Angels bullpen. Next up, I think the Philadelphia Phillies should trade for Michael Fulmer. He's been having a great year for the Tigers so far since moving to the bullpen, a 3.34 ERA over 20 games. Michael Fulmer is not a free agent until 2023. He would be a great addition for this Phillies bullpen that has been struggling recently as they have dropped dead last in relief pitching on the year. I think Fulmer would be a huge lift for this Phillies bullpen that's looking to stay in the playoff race. The Cincinnati Reds, I think, should trade for John King on the Texas Rangers. He's having a low-key good year for the Rangers. Over 34 innings so far. He has a 2.36 ERA, a 2.75 FIP. This Reds bullpen stinks. They rank dead last in left-handed relief pitching. John King would be a great addition for a Reds team that could win the division this year. The Toronto Blue Jays, I think, should trade for Kyle Gibson. He's having a very good year for the Rangers so far, a 2.13 ERA over 12 starts. He's not a free agent until 2023, so he is under control. The Toronto Blue Jays have a very good offense, but their starting pitching has been lacking. They only rank 25th so far in the major leagues. The Toronto Blue Jays need starting pitching help. They're not too far out of the playoff race. I think Kyle Gibson would be huge for the Toronto Blue Jays. Next up, I think the Cleveland Indians should trade for John Gray. He's been having a decent year for the Rockies so far, a 4.29 ERA over 12 starts. The Indians could use another bat, but that starting pitching staff has been having some injuries lately. John Gray would really improve the depth of that starting pitching. He is a free agent after this year, so he probably won't cost too much. And the Indians, they have stockpiled a lot of prospects lately. I think they could get a deal done. Up next, I think the New York Mets should trade for Eduardo Escobar. I've already talked about Eduardo Escobar in the beginning of this video, but I think he would be a great fit for the New York Mets, who have been having a lot of injuries this year. Eduardo Escobar, he would come in, he would provide some power, some run production for that lineup that has been destroyed by some injuries this year. I think Eduardo Escobar would be a great fit for the New York Mets, and he can provide some versatility as well. I think the San Diego Padres should trade for Joey Gallo. The San Diego Padres are all in. They've been making all the trades since going back to this offseason. They could use another bat, though. That offense has not been what a lot of people thought it would be. Joey Gallo would be a huge left-handed bat for that lineup that sorely needs it. He would come in, he would provide some power, some on base. I think the Padres and Joey Gallo are a perfect fit. Next up, I think the Houston Astros should trade for Ian Kennedy. I've already talked about Ian Kennedy earlier on in this video, but he would be a big boost for a Houston Astros bullpen that really needs it. The Houston Astros have the best offense in all of baseball. Their starting pitching is good enough, but they only rank 29th in relief pitching. They need a boost in that bullpen, and I think Ian Kennedy would fit the bill. Up next, I think the Milwaukee Brewers should trade for Daniel Bard. The Brewers have been red hot lately, but that bullpen could use a boost as they only rank 17th in the major leagues right now. Daniel Bard has been a great story since going back to last year after returning after a 7-year absence. He had a 3.65 ERA last year. He's doing similar things this year with a 3.60 ERA. That Brewers bullpen could use a bit of a boost for a playoff run. I think Daniel Bard, he could come in and really help out that Brewers Brewers bullpen. Up next, the Chicago Cubs, I think, should trade for Matthew Boyd. The Chicago Cubs have been a surprising team this year. A lot of people thought they were going to take a step back, but they are right in the thick of things in the NL Central, and they're having a very good year. I've already talked about Matthew Boyd earlier on in this video, as I think the Detroit Tigers should trade him. The Cubs could use a left-handed starting pitcher. What better than Matthew Boyd, who's having a very solid year for the Tigers? However, I did mention earlier in the video that Boyd left his last start with some triceps discomfort. If the Cubs aren't able to make a trade for Boyd, I think making a trade for Danny Duffy would also be a great move. Next up, I think the Boston Red Sox should trade for Merrill Kelly on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Red Sox starting pitching has been struggling lately. I think they could use another arm for the back end of that rotation, and when Chris Sale comes back, they'll have a lot of starting pitching depth. Merrill Kelly hasn't been having a great year for the Diamondbacks with a 2-6 record and a 5.14 ERA. But he does have a 4.12 FIP, 8 strikeouts per 9, and he is under control until 2025. I think Chaim Bloom would love to have a guy like a Merrill Kelly for the back end of that rotation. Up next, I think the Oakland A's should make a trade for reliever Richard Blyer on the Miami Marlins. As of right now, Oakland has the 13th ranked bullpen. However, for the ground ball percentage for their relief pitching, they rank dead last with a 38.1%. If you go take a look at Richard Blyer's stats, as of right now, he has a 3.42 ERA over 28 games for the Marlins, a 3.70 FIP. However, he has over a 60% ground ball percentage. I think he would be a good addition for this Oakland A's bullpen. Up next, I think the LA Dodgers should make a trade for Paul Fry. Paul Fry on the Baltimore Orioles this year has been awesome. A 1.93 ERA over 24 games, 34 strikeouts over 23 1/3 innings. Paul Fry would be a great addition for the Dodgers bullpen that could use another arm. He's also cost controlled until 2025. I think this would be a great fit for both Paul Fry and the Dodgers. Up next, I think the LA Dodgers division rival, the San Francisco Giants, should make a trade for Yimi Garcia. As of right now, the San Francisco Giants bullpen ranks 23rd in the major leagues. I think Yimi Garcia, who used to be an LA Dodger, would be a great fit on the Giants that could use another arm in that bullpen to try and make a run for that division crown. As of right now, Yimi Garcia over 27 games has a 2.42 ERA. He's having a very good year. He would be a great addition for the San Francisco Giants. Up next, I think the Chicago White Sox should make a trade for Adam Frazier. I've already talked about Adam Frazier in this video earlier, saying the Pirates should trade him, and I think the White Sox would be a perfect fit. The White Sox lost a lot of guys so far this year: Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Nick Madrigal as of recently. He would be a great fit because he provides versatility, and he's having a very good offensive season. Adam Frazier would be an awesome fit for the Chicago White Sox looking to win it all this year. Last but not least, I think the Tampa Bay Rays should go make a trade for Jose Berrios. After losing Tyler Glasnow for what could be the rest of the season and even beyond if he needs Tommy John surgery, the Rays have a big hole atop the rotation, and I think Jose Berrios fits the bill. As of right now, over 13 starts, he has a 3.49 ERA. He's having a very good year for the Twins, and reports have been suggesting that they have not had any talks over contract extensions. He's not a free agent until 2023, so the Rays would like that he's under control. I think Jose Berrios would be a great fit for the Tampa Bay Rays. But let's be real here. The Tampa Bay Rays have been playing so well this year. They have so much talent in the minor leagues. I could honestly see the Tampa Bay Rays standing pat and looking towards their minor leaguers to provide some depth for both the offense and the pitching. So those are the trades that I think should get done by the trade deadline this year. Tell me what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me some trades that you think should get done, but that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.